Hey Mavericks, so do you pay for work that doesn't meet your standards for excellence?
I don't think so. So recently we attempted to hire some work out through a very well-known freelancer site where you post the job you want done and set the amount you're willing to pay. You receive bids from those interested doing the job on your behalf. You choose which candidate you're going to hire, then you hope, pray, and cross your fingers that you have made the right choice. We did not, on 2 separate occasions.
In the first case, our candidate presented an excellent cover letter, some really nice examples of their work, and offered to do unlimited revisions. However, when we received their first draft, it made us sick. It was obvious that we were not even close to being on the same page.
So much that there was really even no point in trying to fix it ourselves.
It was very, very bad.
Kind of offensive, actually.
It was offensive.
It's offensive, yeah.
You'd have to read it to understand. So the question then became, do we pay this individual?
Our second candidate seemed more reasonable. They also included unlimited revisions of their work and provided samples that made them appear competent. Looks can be very deceiving. The first draft needed very substantial work, but we were hopeful that they could figure it out.
Hopeful.
False hope is the killer of men and women. Just putting that out there. I got a chance to use my lyrics in a video. Yay! However, when we responded with the revisions we needed, they wanted to charge us more, even though unlimited revisions were already included.
Our answer was no.
This is why you settle things up front. Yeah, you don't wait until the plane's in the air to do maintenance on it. And once we had that ironed out, the revisions that were made were spotty and pretty much ignored. Not only that, but we asked for references to some of the information that was in the project, and upon review found out the material was borderline plagiarism.
More like blatant plagiarism. Borderline is generous.
Don't transcribe TED Talks and put them in a document and switch some words around and try and pass it off as original content. Just don't do that. Bad. Obviously, this was definitely not something that we wanted to put our names to or jeopardize our brand for. And again, the question became, do we pay this person? We're gonna share with you what we discovered, tips on how to keep this from happening to you, and if it does happen to you, how do you deal with it? But first,
I'm Terry.
And I'm Kayla.
And we're Lady
MAVS. And we help aspiring entrepreneurs and leaders create fulfillment, financial abundance, and high-level impact by unleashing your superpowers and smashing your limiting beliefs and indecision.
We actually gave the question of whether or not to pay these individuals some serious thought and reflection, and asked ourselves some pretty hard questions. Like, if we hired someone to paint our house blue, and we came home to find it orange, would we pay that individual for the work that they had done and the time that they had put in? No.
Nope.
If we couldn't grasp the job and failed to do what we had been hired to do, or we blatantly plagiarized our work, would we get paid, or would we be fired and banned from, working in that area ever again? And another question that was really important was whether or not we wanted to support and encourage poor or fraudulent work. And the answer to all of those questions was a resounding, oh,
hell no.
As entrepreneurs and leaders, we hold ourselves to high standards for excellence. And when we hire others to do work for us, we hold them accountable to those same standards. The work that they do represents us, so if they don't perform to the level of excellence that they commit to, or they misrepresent themselves, then it's our job to hold them accountable. It doesn't serve us, it doesn't serve them, and it sure doesn't serve any future clients that they might bring on if we sign off on shoddy work by paying them.
So how do you protect yourself from paying for work that doesn't meet your criteria? We are gonna tell you. I am gonna tell you because I'm the one who's been in charge of this whole thing. Do your due diligence in choosing the best candidate possible. Review their examples, review their work history, review their reviews. How do they respond to your submission? Is it a canned response that they probably send everybody, or are they personalizing it directly to you and your project? Are they answering your questions? Do they have questions? Are they open to your suggestions, and do they have any suggestions?
Pay only after the project is fully completed. And for major projects, set it up into phases and sections and kind of like a contingency. Once they complete the first section, so to speak, you sign off on it, you pay them for that, and based on your satisfaction with that, then you proceed to the second section or the second phase of the project, and so on.
Make sure you clearly define your project. If you don't set those parameters up front, it could very well bite you in the butt later, okay? Guys, like seriously, cover your butts. It's kind of like a prenup except for freelancer. You want to make sure it's all set in place in case there's a divorce down the road, which is what I will be doing at some future date.
The prenup or the divorce part?
The prenup part.
One way to do that too is to ask them to write in their own words what they believe the project to be about. And maybe even give them a little piece of it to do just to kind of demonstrate what their style is or what their ideas are. Something that gives you a little bit more insight into who you're hiring and what they're capable of creating or accomplishing. Make sure that you clearly state what you will pay for and what you will not pay for. And if it's any type of written project in any way, shape, or form, make sure up front that you specify you will not pay for any plagiarized material.
You also want to make sure you understand what someone is including in their bid. If you're not sure, then ask. You don't want to get stuck thinking that a revision is included or editing is included and find out later on down the road that it's extra. And by doing that up front, you're able to hold the freelancer accountable to whatever they say.
If you have a specific deadline, make sure that it's understood.
Always ask for references noted in their work and be sure to check them out. Transcribing TED Talks. Bad.
Very bad.
Watch people who do that.
Just because they provide the references they use doesn't mean they're valid. If you put work out there with your name and it is found to be misrepresented or plagiarized in any way, then that's going to come back on you.
Not the freelancer.
Not the freelancer.
Because your name's on it.
Make sure too that you understand how the payout system works with any freelance type of service that you hire through, whether that's Guru or Fiverr or Upwork, and you have to understand how that works so that funds do not get released until you give the authorization for that to happen. And if you don't pay attention to the little details in that regard, you could end up paying for work that you're not satisfied with.
When you know the person you hired is not performing as promised, or if their work is out of alignment with your specifications and guidelines, you have two options. Give them a chance to do it right, correct their course immediately. If you have any faith at all that they might be able to give you, satisfactory, excellent work, which is one reason why asking for updates along the way is really important. That way you can kind of see where their head's at rather than getting the whole thing at the very end and realizing it's a bunch of crap. Or you can let them know why you are choosing to release them from the project and will not release payment. Make sure you put it in writing, okay? Tell them why so that you have written grounds to stand on just in case it turns into a big thing, they balk at it. Then it's going to make it much easier on your end for the freelancer site arbitrator to lean in your favor.
Also, you need to be confident in your decision if this should happen to you where you feel as though the work you've hired for just really isn't worthy of what you agreed to pay the individual for a job well done. Hold your ground. Don't fall into the trap of feeling guilty. Learn how to reverse the situation, and what would happen if you submitted work in the way that it was submitted to you and somebody said, I'm not going to pay for this. would you have grounds to really stand on and say, look, we agreed to this, I did exactly as you asked me to do? There's a big, big difference here, guys. It's so important to understand.
That's basically just what we're taking, an hour to film. Basically, bottom line, know your worth, value your money, don't pay for crap.
The other thing is always acknowledge a job well done. There are a lot of great people out there with extraordinary skills and talents that you can hire to help you in a myriad of ways. You just have to be discerning. There is always going to be a bad apple in every bunch. It doesn't matter. So you want to be able to pick that out, or if you get it by mistake, you want to be able to
chuck it.
To chuck it. Exactly.
Have a good throwing arm.
Neither of the freelancers in the experiences that we have shared balked at not being paid. That really tells us something, and I hope it tells you something. They knew that what they had submitted to us was subpar and not worthy of being paid. They were just hoping that we weren't paying attention.
Always give yourself permission to hire for excellence and to expect excellence in the work you hire for. Otherwise, you jeopardize your reputation, your brand, your business, and the integrity of the team you lead. Does that sound fun to you? I don't think so.
It all boils down to setting yourself up for success in the beginning. And when you start any new business endeavor, or if you're wanting to take it to the next level as an entrepreneur, as a leader, whatever project you might be working on, having that foundation of success in the beginning is critical. And also having the mindset to create the success that you want to achieve is critical. So we have a free resource that we would love to be able to share with you to help you do just that, no matter what it is you're wanting to pursue. It's also going to help you hold yourself accountable when those little irritating nuisances pop up, like hiring someone who doesn't do the job you hired them to do.
And instead transcribes TED Talks. If you head on over to www.ladymavslife.com/unconventional guide and punch the download button, we will hook you up with our unconventional success guide, 4 essential rules every aspiring entrepreneur and leader needs to follow so you never have to sacrifice your life and can do more of what you love. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found value. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and our Facebook and Instagram links are in the description box below.
It is our privilege to inspire, empower, and uplift you to live the life you love.
Cheers.
Cheers. There you go. As entrepreneurs and leaders, we hold ourselves to a
higher standard even though we can't speak proper English.
Yeah. Shut up. We need to make a sign and put it on like a paddle. A couple of signs that we can use to hold up and different things.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Because we could bop each other on the head when we needed to.
Head bopper sign. Oh, we can even
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole. Oh.
Whack-a-whack-a. Whack-a-mom. Oh, don't tell me there aren't days where you want to whack me on the head too.
I'm thinking of one right now.